I just put a little bit of medicine into my stew. Dandelion root. Delicious. This is a garden stew full of all kinds of wonderful goodies, fresh picked, including more of the reishi mushrooms that you may have seen in my last video. Earlier this morning, I cut more of the mushrooms off of those rishis that you saw in last week's video. And you can see how they're already growing back from where I cut off those outer edges last week. But with regard to the dandelion root that I just popped in as the final ingredient, with this nicely boiling away now, that is something that I was reminded of by a good friend the other day, who was suffering from some very strong, if you will, ill effects from some questionable dietary choices. In his words, way too many potato chips. And he started to get some problems with his kidneys. And he actually had to go for some treatment. And I said to him, put away the medicine bottles and don't go back for more treatments. Pick some dandelion root and boil it into a tea and drink that tea. It took some convincing, because I shared the story of how in my youth, in my early adulthood, when I was really too serious about being in the music business, and my studio occupied all of my energy, all my thoughts, all my time, I was burning the candle at three ends. And I wound up succumbing to a horrific kidney infection. I was actually peeing blood. Solid red blood. Emergency surgery immediately followed to cauterize one of my kidneys, leaving me with 1.5 kidneys, and the surgeon warning me that if I didn't change my lifestyle immediately, I would not live to see my, I think I was 19 or 20, so I wouldn't live to see my 20th or 21st birthday. Here I am, 56, baby, and 0 medications. I took his words and I ran with them. That's when I became a vegan, and I learned from my grandmother that, no, it wasn't my grandmother, I'm sorry, she had already passed away, but it was her wisdom through my mother to make tea from dandelions. And I did, and it cured me. And I shared that story with my friend, and he did the same thing. He made 1 pot of dandelion root tea, and it immediately cured him. And he was so happy to have recovered from that he's now sworn off the potato chips and all of that horrible, let's not get into what it is, but we'll just say salt as the first problem there. Too much salt. Anyways, this is all you have to do, is just harvest a root, throw it in a pot of stew, And there you go. And there are so many other examples of knowledge of plants as medicine.
In today's society, depression has become so widespread that it seems like almost everyone is on antidepressants. The medical industry doesn't want you to know that a major cause of depression is insufficient essential fatty acids in our diet. Walnuts are a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, and I am overjoyed to have them growing here in abundance. Native black walnuts are a challenge to break open, but they are higher in nutritional content than the familiar English walnut. This year, there's a new nut growing in my forest, the butternut. I look forward to adding them to my diet. Of course, my greatest energy is dedicated to the American chestnut, and thanks to my many years of effort, the Miracle Sisters tree is loaded with nuts this year. Maybe this will be the year when I can indulge in tasting a handful. That is, if I can find more than a few before the squirrels take them all. Getting your medicine from plants is only effective if they are free from poisons, and the best way to be sure is to grow them yourself or find them in the wild. I rescued this wild Granny Smith apple seedling from an area of cleared forest in the neighboring property, and hopefully it will add to the varieties of wild fruits I enjoy from my forest in years to come. The healthy energy in my food is enhanced by cooking over fire. Life is beautiful when we embrace the pure, the simple, and the sublime energy of nature.